today, Monday, April 18th. Please join me for pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You know, every time we do this, I always think we should have the flag like over there. So our backs aren't always to the camera.
Well, you're basically the podium, and we're lining it up like you're on a podium.
I understand that, but I always feel like when I watch it, it's always that back to
I understand that, but if you want, we can move it there for the time being. It's
But I always think about it when we do it, then I forget about it. But something to think about, I guess. Now that I said it out loud. All right.
Minor details.
Yes, sir. Minor details. All right. Department head contracts we have to sign. Vote.
I will make a motion to approve the Town of Granby Police Chief employment contract.
There's a second.
Maybe we'll second that.
Any further discussion?
No, do we read any of it? Okay.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? All right. It's done.
Yeah, I'll keep this one open. It is hard to get to.
Thank you. The mother?
That was the second one. You send both.
Two copies.
I thought there was one other. That's it. One other two. Just that one.
No, just the police chief. Yeah.
where's the other one?
That looks like contract.
Council on Aging.
Also an agent.
Natalie's there.
I guess it's not here then.
It's
No, these are my departmental reports because I thought that's what we were going to move on to next because our appointments aren't till 6. Let me just see if it just ended up in a different.
Look in the to be signed folder there.
Son. That's me.
I don't know. I just put the folders in there.
These are the warrants. You guys are all looking at me like I'm holding back. I got nothing.
I'm not saying a word.
fell off. I don't know what it's spelled now.
I'm not saying a word.
Check that, that's fine.
Correspondence, but again.
While we're waiting for Kathy to come back.
Yeah.
We do have a Dufresne rental.
Okay.
It's a graduation party on June 22nd, 2024, arriving 12 p.m., departing 5 p.m. Area requested is the large pavilion. Maximum number of people is 100, and there will not be alcohol on the premises.
Okay.
Next item would be Memorial Day Parade. This year, they're planning on changing the route. When you come out, I guess you are going to come out of the Immaculate Heart of Mary's Church, turn left, go down to Boulder Island, then come back up around, go to the new Veterans Memorial. And at that point, there will be a dedication ceremony for it. We're hoping to get our representatives and senator there. And hopefully it'll be a nice dedication ceremony. And then that'll be the end of the parade. You're not going to go to the other cemeteries because they feel that all the names of our veterans are on the wall. So that is the place that they would rather conduct a ceremony in.
Okay. And that was the plan before anyways, after that was.
Right, but
Was done.
they're going to do it this year.
Yeah.
The wall is almost basically done. If you go by it now, pretty much most of the stone
Yeah.
facing is on it. It's looking really, really great.
It looks sharp.
Yes.
They posted a picture of it on their
Yeah.
Facebook page. Looks sharp.
Also, there is a Meet the Candidates Night being held by the Granby Lions Club. It is on May 1st, 7 p.m. in the East Meadow Cafeteria.
May 1st, Chris, at 7 p.m., correct?
Pardon?
May 1st at 7 p.m.
May 1st, 7 p.m. Yes. I'm going to have to leave the meeting because something happened to the contracts, but that's okay. One other item before you move on is that, actually, no, we can do those during the discussion of that last item. So, okay, I will be right back.
We can go over the departmental reports by waiting. We have to wait for this to come back.
I will make a motion to approve the departmental reports.
I can second it.
Any further discussion?
Did have a question for Chris about,
Oh, yeah, I have a good question for Chris. He's not here.
I know. Yeah, it was just about one of the departmental reports. It was about maintenance, about the Turo. So the school department used the Turo and only part of it is getting replaced. So I wanted to know what was going to happen with the other parts that need to be replaced. That's all.
School department used something on the Carol.
Well, they used they used it to do their fields for the baseball and softball fields. But they ended up breaking or returning it to the maintenance department broken. So Jeremy asked them to go to Turf Products to get it fixed. And when John Sullivan dropped it off there, they called him back with a whole bunch of repairs that needed to be made. And John Sullivan is saying that they're only going to replace the part that they said that they broke, although it was in working order last year when Jeremy gave it to them. So I guess I'm just trying to understand if it wasn't working.
Well, other things, maintenance, stuff that needs to be replaced,
Yeah,
it's just, you know, over time, wear and tear. That
Yeah, and-
recommended like some to replace things on it.
Right. And Jeremy said they used it for 45 minutes last year. That was it. And the rest of the time it was used by the school department. So I just was going to ask what now. So John is only going to replace the part that was broken
So what
while
happened?
using it.
Yeah, I have a question about that too. Why isn't this school using their own mowers on that?
I think we've always shared equipment though to
That's
down
what
the
we did.
cost.
That's when John Sullivan was the only one before we created the buildings department.
I think you're talking about the groomer.
The groomer?
Yeah.
Tur-
No, one.
The Turo Sand Pro.
Yeah, I think that was actually on the, Recreation Commission. And they got it, and then, it was ours in the town, somebody used it. Because they used to go over and take care of, borrow from the rec department, go over do it from the back. And then, they were doing more than it's on.
Okay.
What is it for the baseball fields? Is that what it's like for the dirt infield and stuff?
Did Jeremy just get that?
No, that's the track with attachments.
One of them was the Pearl. You're right.
The, blueprint and all that.
Cause it's so wet there
That's.
and it's broken.
So, to Chris, you weren't around for this, but when we split them up, was the intention, because John, yeah, couldn't handle both the building,
Okay,
doing the maintenance and whatever they did here. He obviously, and then she was still for school.
okay.
So when we created the department, it was for a person just to do the grounds. So we bought them a lot of equipment to take care of, like Brownell said, do for the park, the police department, so on. And
But I wonder if that's,
this is, I always have a question, why is it leaning more to Jeremy doing more and more at the school when that is supposed to be on the school?
well, I don't think he's doing it at the school. I think it's just a piece of equipment that they had that's
They were
broken.
sharing.
He's mowing,
It's just sharing.
he's been mowing it there too.
He does, they do, certain ones, there's certain ones that the school takes care of.
So it's just an agreement they have with each other.
I think that, he does the bigger fields. And then they do the one that,
Small ones out front. Yeah, well, there's a larger equipment.
yeah.
That they had the work
I don't think they have what,
enough to do it.
yeah, with Jeremy, yes.
So that was my only question.
Well, we can approve them on based on that. Okay, so all in favor of approving them?
I,
Right.
Anybody opposed? Set. How many minutes? Good minutes?
no, but our goal is to get caught up on the minutes before Rick leaves so we can sign all of this.
Okay.
So Kathy and I will work towards that.
Not, you'll come back?
Yeah, but
I'm back. My fee goes up then.
Okay,
More and more we get paid now.
become a contractor?
Yeah. I think 500 per signature. I'm only kidding. Be more than happy to come back and take care of that.
Very nice. We go over to, maintenance warrants, unless you have any questions beforehand.
no, I write things down for myself really.
Okay. So why don't we go with those while we're
Okay.
waiting for Chris?
I will make a motion to approve warrant number 61 dated 4/5/2024 in the amount of $200,289.61. And this is a town bills payable warrant.
A second?
Second that.
Any further discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Yep.
Next one, I'll make a motion to approve warrant number 61S dated 4/5/2024 in the amount of $201,017.48.
Second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion?
I will be abstaining from the line item that reimbursed me for supplies that I bought for the school.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed?
Next is a motion to approve payroll warrant number 62 dated April 12th, 2024 in the amount of $471,766.08.
A second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
As usual, I will abstain from the teacher and selectmen salaries.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? And Rick and I wrote out a necessity for the select board members. Okay.
Thank you. Do you want me to go back to the front after this?
Yes, it's for the,
Like-
so,
Do all of them? Okay. Right, next one is a motion to approve warrant number 63. This is a maintenance warrant dated 4/12/2024 in the amount of $115,300.79.
second,
Second.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you.
I will make a motion to approve warrant number 64. This is the bills payable warrant dated 4/19/2024 in the amount of $96,962.20.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Chris, I had a question on this one. Was the special town meeting from 2019 for Dufrane's, was that for the doors? Or was
No.
that for paint?
No, that's just, what, the 600?
Yeah, it said
That's,
for.
that's for the paint that he bought for
Oh,
you guys to do the work
the horse brown.
last week. So,
Okay.
okay.
And do they always get salt this time of year? Is it cheaper to buy it this year? Because I noticed they were buying salt.
We buy it now because next year it's probably going to go up like
Okay.
everything else always does. So what we do is at the end of every fiscal year towards the end, we try and fill the salt shed up as much as possible.
And then, Mr. August, do we have an update on the cable?
I know he has a meeting set up with two members of the board of directors. I don't remember the date, but they're going to go over the proposed contract and discuss strategy on dealing with Comcast.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Bye.
Aye. Anybody opposed?
I think there's only one copy of this unless it got paper put together. Hold on a second. Nope. It's right here. Last one is a motion to approve warrant number 64S. This is a bills payable warrant dated 4/19/2024 in the amount of $153,757.58.
Second,
Second.
any further discussion?
I will abstain from materials reimbursement to myself as well.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed?
I think we should just put it in there. If you're gonna rip it, we need to have it flat.
It'll last like 10 years.
If you don't rip it, it will.
That make me think we used to. I'm going red them, they're like a couple months old.
You don't mention like these.
Right. All right, let's go back to the contract for Cal Sanford.
I'll make a motion to approve the Director of Senior Services employment contract.
I will second.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, we have, citizen participation, none. All right, Chris, you did the two frames rentals, look for correspondence.
I did correspondence and any other business. I said the last thing I was going to deal with would be when we're talking about the warrant.
Okay.
You want me to start going down through some of the old business?
We can, sure.
Town accountant, I have that position advertised on the MMA website. I contacted the MMAAA, which is Mass Municipal Accountants and Auditors Association, to see if I could advertise with them. And we are going to be putting it in the Daily Hampshire Gazette, and it's on the website. Okay. Updates on Forge Pond, I don't have any. I got to get a hold of Mr. Leonard, find out where they are in the process. Update on the Council on Aging, the new director started. Her first day of work was April 16th. And we're hoping that she settles in nicely, and we're available for any questions she may have. The cookout, we all know, is in May. The Route 2 Mass DOT project, well, it started. And it is a nightmare coming in at 7 a.m. and leaving at 4 p.m. Well, the issues that they get and the in-process construction. One stop for growth grant. I did submit for the water project again. They weren't taking applications for for anything related to the West Street building project, because that wasn't in the form for this year. Senior work-off program. Yeah, we did do that. I am in the process of developing the guidelines and forms for board approval. Update on green communities. I don't have anything on that one. And I know, Crystal, you do the open space committee.
Yeah, so we're still waiting for me to do the pictures, actually, and then send it to them for the survey. But they have everything done on their end. And we already talked about the last time that we would buy the signs for the different properties. So I will put it on my to-do list for this week to take pictures of all the open space. Do you guys only want, so I guess we talked about it the last time with the chief too. Sandy Plains is like all woods. Do I go and take a picture of the woods? Like, or do you want just Dufresne's? Do you want Brown Allison? Like, I kind of want the areas that they frequent the most, like the East Meadow, the high school.
I sort of agree with you on that.
Okay. I know.
I sort of, yeah.
Like, I mean, I can go and take a picture of the woods. You
It's,
guys want me to?
Yeah, and the only other thing we brought back there is the foundation of some of the old buildings.
For the Sandy Plains?
Yeah.
Okay. Want me to take a picture of the old foundation? Oh, well, I thought that's what you were asking me to.
I would say take a picture just in case anybody rides their horses through that area or whatever.
It
You
is
know,
a
there may
spot.
be a horse trail through there that we're not sure of,
Right,
type of
there's a
thing,
place, so why not?
you know?
And then I think the other place too was the Hoyoke Range, Mount Hoyoke Range, right? Because there's part of that that's in Granby, right, for our open space.
Mhm.
So I can do that one too. It was just raining most of the time last week,
Oh, yeah.
and there was an opportunity to do it, so didn't think that those would be very nice pictures.
Yeah, so, but, the only other thing I wanted to bring up is, we are in the process of doing the MVP grant.
Yes.
We're trying to get last year's submission so we can go forward. Actually, I was texting, the person in charge of the program and see if I get a copy of last year's submission. So they give us a heads up on.
Yeah.
Getting that moving forward. Regarding the West Street building project, I received an email over the weekend. We do have our EPA number to remove the underground storage tank. And they're hoping to schedule the removal sometime in May.
When?
May.
May? Anytime in May?
He didn't give me the exact date.
Okay.
But also I want to forewarn everybody that we're not going to allow people to come and watch the removal. I am talking about having a police detail on site to turn away any residents who want to come and watch the removal process. As far as we're concerned, that's an active construction site at that point, and we can't risk the liability of someone getting injured. So I just want to let this board know.
And it's the construction company that,
It's Western Mass Environmental. They are going to be in charge of the removal. They'll hire the excavator, the crane company, the lowboy trailer to excavate it, remove it, and haul it away.
Okay.
And they will also be taking tests of the soil around where the tank was to make sure that there's no presence of any petroleum products in the surrounding soil.
Did we have anything on the MWRA?
No,
Did you see that little article? I think it was in the Gazette.
I don't read
Oh,
the,
good online.
I don't read the Gazette, sorry.
One of the state reps from Representative from Folsom, it's pushing to get it quantum water into their local towns.
Okay.
I don't know if Dan's still around there.
He is for now until the elections.
It's still the election, yeah. He's still,
Maybe we could reach out to him.
well, he's still around till he takes,
Yeah, till-
something else happens, but yeah.
Right. So. Then you're at 5:59 right now, Mr. Chair.
All right, it's now 6:00. This is a notice to hereby given under chapter 138 of the Massachusetts General Law that the Granby Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Monday, April 22nd, 2024 at 6 p.m. at 10B West State Street, the Senior Center Building, to consider the transfer of a retail section 15 package store, all alcohol beverage on premises license for Brusso Liquor Mart, Inc. to 367 East State Street, Inc. Does business as Brussel's Liquor Mart 2. To consider James Gibson as manager. Premises described as follows: one-story building containing 3,110 square feet. 2 rooms located at 367 East State Street, Granby, Mass. 01033. Hello, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
If it please the board.
Yes.
My name is Arthur Perlman. I represent Vijay Ben Patel and 367 East State Street. As you said, they're seeking a transfer of the package store all alcohol license currently held by Brusso Liquor Mart for the premise at 367 East State Street in Granby. And we also are requesting a pledge of the license to Rockland Trust, which is financing the purchase of this business. Published notice for the hearing was accomplished by the town. Mailed notice to abutters is not required for a transfer of license. 367 East Street, Inc. is a mass corporation. Vijay Ben Patel is the sole officer, director, and shareholder of the corporation. Ms. Patel is currently living in Winchester, Massachusetts. She's owned and managed a business located in North Reading, Massachusetts, which has a beer and wine liquor license. Jim Gibbons will be the manager of the business and spend at least 40 hours a week at the business. Mr. Gibbons also currently lives in Winchester. He has worked for the town of Winchester, retiring now from the water operations, and is currently training for this business at Andy's Liquor in Wakefield, Massachusetts. So he's becoming very familiar with how we do it. We request the business to be operated at 367 East State Street to be open 7 days a week. We're requesting hours of 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. The layout of the store will be as per the plan that I gave you. I gave you a floor plan of the store. Both Vijay and James have already been in the liquor business. They are familiar with Chapter 138. Additionally, they've both completed their TIPS training, and I believe I gave you copies of their certification for the TIPS training. Like I say, they're familiar with statutory law. They'll become familiar with any rules or regulations that may be unique to Granby. I would ask that the board approve the transfer of the license currently held by Brusso Liquor Mart for the premise at 367 East State Street in Granby to 367 East State, Inc., as well as a pledge of the license to Rockland Trust. Thank you.
Any questions for the board members?
The hours that you stated, sir, were the same as it's currently open, right?
The store?
Yeah, the hours that you stated, is that the current hours of the store?
Not exactly. I believe that the hours right now are like 9 to 9, Monday through Thursday, 9 to 10 on Friday and Saturday, and 10 to 8 Sunday. So it might be another hour on each side. Usually what happens is most of my clients go in and operate with full hours to see what the public wants. As the public doesn't want it, they kind of reduce the hours to what the public is looking for.
This is a public hearing, so if there's anybody from the public that has any questions, comments, concerns? Okay. Anyone else?
I don't think so.
I don't, yeah.
Take a look at it.
Council, report checks if are required for the managers to take over this,
Say that again?
or Corey?
The
Check,
query was submitted.
it was submitted.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, did you say the license be held in trust? To, these, the liquor license be held in trust?
No,
No, oh, doesn't.
it'll be pledged. We're asking it to be pledged as security for the loan.
Okay.
They go beyond the UCC when there's liquor stores. They take a UCC, but they also want to pledge the license. We want to make sure, not that they're gonna, but if they had to foreclose on it, they could have foreclose on a liquor store where they actually have a license. They could ask you to transfer to whoever would buy it.
Oh,
The
okay,
foreclosure.
okay, good. Yeah. Is there a motion from the board?
Make a motion to accept the transfer of Brusso's liquor mart license to, are we transferring it to, well, we're not transferring it to James Gibbons. We're just saying that he's the manager.
Right.
What's the name of the company?
367 East State Street.
Okay, 367 East Street Incorporated.
In a second,
I will second that.
any further discussion? I believe we're approving the transfer, not accepting the transfer, so we'll approve the transfer.
Approved.
And the pledge of license.
And the pledge of license as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Very good.
Sorry about that.
All right. Have a good night. Take care. Chris, we didn't have any appointments, did we?
We did
No.
6:30,
Well,
right?
No, I mean, like, nothing as far as like appointing anybody, any,
Yes. Yeah, we did.
yeah,
no.
Sure.
We have some time in between for our next one at 6:15.
Is it in the new business?
It'd be in the new.
Yeah.
with the new building commissioner now being hired, he fills various positions, appointed positions within the town.
Okay.
And these are the appointments to those various positions.
Okay.
Read that.
Would you like me to read each letter
Yes.
for the appointment or just say what they're being?
I would just say the position they're being appointed to.
You're right, but it's the same person as he's,
Right.
listen,
So I'll make a motion to appoint Damian Cody for the Granby Building Commissioner, expiring in 1 year, June 30th, 2024.
second.
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed?
I will make a motion to approve Damian Cody for the parking clerk. Again, a 1 year term expiring June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? It's one I didn't think that would fall under this category.
Yeah.
I will make a motion to approve Damon Cody for appointment as a Granby sign officer for a 1-year term expiring June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed?
And I will make a motion to approve Damon Cody for Stormwater Phase 2 Committee, a 1-year term expiring June 30th, 2024.
Second. Any further discussion? No? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed?
And I will make a motion to approve Damian Cody for zoning enforcement officer, a 1-year term expiring June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Any further discussion? No? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Please go there.
You could probably do number 6 fairly quickly also. That is basically the engagement letter to hire the independent auditor to come in and audit our FY23 books
So approve and sign the audit engagement letter.
for the chairman to sign.
That went by quick. Seems like he was just here not too long ago giving us a report and everything.
Yep.
And Chris, did the fee go up at all, or is it the same?
Same fee as last year. $24,000.
I will make a motion to have Glenn sign the audit engagement letter for Scanlon and Associates to do our FY 2023 audit.
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
How many years have we had them for, Chris?
Long
Many, many years, right?
I want to say probably a good 15 years. Problem we run into is there's not that many audit firms out here on this side of the state.
So these,
And a lot of them, they'll only come in for a day or two, blow in, blow out type of thing. And I just like having someone more local who I can talk to. We already get.
All in favor?
One of it.
We have one?
I didn't know if you wanted to do it. Why?
That's just a minute. Go
1 minute?
ahead.
You better go fast.
No.
All right, I will make a motion to approve common victualers license number 24-35. This is to certify that Izal, I'm gonna probably butcher this last name, but Shalapen? Does that sound right?
Sounds good.
Okay, doing business as Wandering Waffles at 24 Beverly Street, number 2, Chicopee, Mass. Is the common victualers license, is for 16 East Street, Winehouse, and that place only, and expires on December 31st, 2024.
Second.
Second then.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
That it?
Yeah. Thank you. All right, we're going to next 6:15 appointment. This notice is hereby given on the chapter 138 of the Massachusetts General Law that the Granby Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Monday, April 22nd, 2024 at 6:15 PM at 10B West State Street, the Senior Center Building, on the application of Lori Ann Bernier for something special catering service and cafe, seeking one, a wine and malt beverage restaurant on premises license, and two, consider Lori Ann Bernier be a manager for the premises described as follows: 32-seat cafe inside the floor, inside with one floor at 960 square feet and 22 seats for outside patio at 800 square feet, located at 181 West 8th Street, Granby, Mass. Any questions from the board members?
No.
Crystal?
I don't think so.
Any questions from the public? None?
Hey, I got one. Is the staff tips certified?
We are not tip certified yet, but I will be getting tip certified, and my full-time server,
Mhm.
two of them, so one for night and one for day. And I'm always on premise for all business hours.
That's it.
Are you guys open at night?
We are playing right now where our hours are 7 to 2, Wednesday through Sunday, but I do plan out opening 7 days a week from 7 to 8 o'clock at night.
Okay.
Close that portion of the public hearing. Just don't have any concerns, issues, or comments. And they're gonna start serving dinner and stuff like that?
Yes.
That's the point.
Can make a reservation.
And they're probably closing for a couple hours at 2, and then gonna reopen again 4 to 8.
We should all pass this down.
Back to one of your questions, right? That was in the, before you checked on? You know?
I do fill out the paperwork for it.
Yes.
How many liquor licenses do we have open, Chris, in Granby?
You talking beer and wine?
Yeah.
You know about that?
We have like years that we, for those 1 year one, that was right.
Is there a certain amount that are available for the area though, right? Is that-
It's usually the size community.
Okay.
The only thing that we can't have is, liquor stores.
Okay.
I think that's what, one per every 5,000 residents.
Yeah, I remember the discussion several years ago. And we were allowed to have them based on the population. All right, well. Is there a motion? Motion to approve it?
I'll make a motion to approve the wine and malt beverages license to Lori Ann Bernier as manager for 181 West State Street, Granby, Mass. Something special catering, service, and cafe.
Second,
I will second that.
any further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah.
How about the, what's on the list here?
Town meeting.
Approve and sign annual town meeting election warrant?
Do we have the meeting at 6:30? Because that's gonna take a while. Do we want to start it and then stop?
No.
Yeah.
That one start, stop.
Do you guys want to read the, yes?
Is there anything else, that needs to be discussed?
We do have a report from Jeremy for our meeting for 6:30 if you guys want to go.
That's it. Yeah, we're just waiting in.
And then we have another one from,
That's.
okay, I don't have them on the. Here, give one, that they've got enough copies in here for everyone. They can read it, so.
I was just gonna give them that one. Let's-
And then here, I guess one's coming out first, that's probably the first one you want to read.
Well,
Sorry, Glenn, we just have to read through.
No, you, absolutely, no, thank you. I appreciate that time.
Says at 6:30 is Dylan Dubuque.
Yeah, he's from the athletic director from the high school, but that was put on here by Kathy, right?
Yes, he did not get back to me. We can-
Okay.
Make our decision. Okay.
We just want to talk about the lacrosse team.
Yeah, they just want to put a field in over at Brown Ellison, which is fine by us. We have, but we can share.
All right, why don't we? You can start, Glenn.
Sure.
Basically,
No, the other thing I just put a request in, just the GA would like to purchase some specialized infield dirt for Dufrane's Park and also Brown Ellison for the infield. Just kind of bring the levels up to make the base pass safer for the kids, and also when they go to slide, it's a little softer for them. The stuff we have now is just it's old, packed down really hard. Jeremy did turn it over for us, but it's got a lot of actual soil mixed in with it now, so it's not draining as well as it should. So the GA is willing to pay for the dirt. If we can have some help with the trucking from Cheniers out of Ludlow, that would be a huge help to us. Just as we're not allowed to drive on the fields or anything like that, it'd just be easier if, if I'm not sure who would go get it for over the highway or whoever, but just, him and Jeremy, they coordinate and say, okay, yep, this gate's open to stay, this time, go in, put the dirt down. Jerry said he would spread it for us to a point, and then obviously I've got plenty of parent volunteers with rakes and shovels and wheelbarrows, smooth it out and do the finished product. So the softball field needs some, and the two baseball fields at Dufrane's are in pretty rough shape. So we're gonna try to get them spruced up. In the dirt situation, we kind of the topsoil and loam. We already handled that last weekend. We went over to glass grass and brought some dirt from them and got it all spread out by hand and fixed up Brown Ellison. So.
That's for the second request to screen loom?
Yes.
So that one no longer needs to be done, or?
We could use some more, but
Okay.
the initial holes were fixed to get the kids, and Jeremy had mentioned he got some risers for some of the, water sprinklers there. So the holes that are remaining, he said, once he gets the risers put in, we can fill those holes in as well, and then it'll be a lot safer for the kids to play, so.
Do we have spring bloom? Chris, at the highway department?
Did we have it?
Do
No.
we have it?
No.
Okay.
There's spring bloom sitting in front of us and we dropped there last week.
Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, Jeremy said he dropped some, so it's good. Somebody dropped it.
Dave, since you're here, is this something the highway department could do? We're getting real busy and I'm getting real short-handed. Another guy retiring very shortly. Just, it's an issue for us as far as coordination goes. But there's a lot of other projects people are asking for us to do, paving at cemetery and all kind of other projects. And we start committing to all of these, we're not gonna have enough time. There's just not enough hours in the sun.
How many truckloads do you need?
Great.
2 truckloads?
2 or 3. It depends on if we use one of the bigger dump trucks, it'd probably just be 2 loads. If it's the smaller 1-ton dumps, it'd probably be 3, maybe 4. Just because they hold less than the bigger dumps do. I mean, I do have volunteers that have dump trailers that are willing to facilitate the trucking. I would just need permission to open the gate and have them come in. At a pre-approved spot by Jeremy or whoever is fine. And we can get in and out. I just don't want to step on any more toes. I want to fix the relationship between everybody versus, everybody just kind of doing whatever they want and make it more waves. Rather not do that. So we can do it ourselves per se, if that's okay. I mean, whatever works, I guess, is kind of where I'm at with it.
How many, what's the larger dump truck carry, Dave? 8 to 10 yards on our trucks.
So you need 2.
We're limited by, we don't have triaxles or.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if we could get one load over at East Meadow. Don't get it. Don't go dump there. Like 1 to Dufresne's, 1 to Brown Ellison. That would be, again, if you can't, you can't. Not, just trying to do it the right way. That's all.
Chris, let me ask you, with Dufresne and Brown Ellison being owned by the town, is that something the town can cover the cost of, having the dirt trucked in?
No, we don't have that budgeted anywhere.
Can I speak on Dufresne? I'm not sure what we did at Brown Ellison, I can't remember.
Dave, can you come forward, please?
In the past, the little softball field was completely dug out years ago, Wayne Tack, and we brought in an infield mix for the little ball field. There's no point in digging all that out. You're not gonna improve the drainage there. It's what, anyway.
Oh, we're not gonna dig it out. We're just gonna add 2 just to get the base levels, the base.
And your quantity is way off. I mean, you're only talking about 2 yards, maybe, 5 or 6, little one from load and probably.
Yeah, I just figured we just have some just to spare so we can top off the lines as we need. That way I'm not asking you again. I just wanted to kind of do it one shot and then just have it on hand. And if I said I'm able to do whatever, I just want to do it the right way.
I know we brought in from New Hampshire. We did maybe fields at Dufresne originally, and we were bringing like a whole trail load. We dug it completely out
Yeah.
and brought it to the mix when it was done. But that's been, can't remember exactly, around 2008 maybe.
There are 1 or 2 fields there, I forgot.
There's 2 baseball fields and there's 3. That's right. There's 3 baseball fields and a
Softball
sorry,
field.
2 baseball fields and a softball field. Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah, the softball field was the other one we worked on with the infield mix. The other one had a shipping that was brought in by somebody else years ago on a little league field that's fenced in. The other one was never improved with any type of infield mix. It was the existing soil.
So it's not 2 18-yard truck full. It's an 8 or a 10.
Yes, I'm sorry. I may not have been clear. I just wanted to have, I figured we were gonna use, like, say, maybe 10 yards total. But I
Okay.
was hoping to have a little extra, that way we can kind of patch as we go. And,
Instead of doing it all over again next year.
yes.
I understand.
So if we have, the people that want to volunteer their time, truck it in, don't we have the rule that you can't operate machinery on town property?
We just have concerns with liability. That's always our concern.
One of the people, he's a general contractor, has all his licenses, has full insurance. Would that better if it's on the release, or is that possible, or is that not really possible? Just in general?
What work are they doing?
Well, they're trucking in a load and dumping it, so they're gonna have to go over that bridge, right? And then,
Well, you got the gate where the baseball fields are. That's that one gate that opens, that little culvert right
They're
there.
not doing any work. They're
but
just,
we're saying no machines on town property.
it's not a machine, it's a vehicle to bring it in material. I don't see that. That's not to me as working. That's just
Dumping and,
dumping, it's transporting. And
Before they go in though, I would want them check with Jeremy to make sure that the fields can support whatever that weight is that's going over them.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
To make sure, I'm just saying, just to make sure there's no rutting.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's already ruts everywhere. I totally agree, because they're a pain in the butt to fix. I get it.
I mean, I would suspect the smaller trucks gonna make less of an imprint than obviously the weight. If the weight is the concern as far as the causing ruts. But I mean, I'd like to have the town do something here. I mean, we have the GAA taking in the money. We have volunteers from the town willing to spread out all the topsoil and stuff. It just seems like, excuse the pun, but I think the town should step up to the plate and do something here to be part of it. I mean, it's for the, but it's for the town. I mean, it just benefits the town, and numerous times, sitting up here, I hear complaints about how our fields are and stuff like that, and people compare them to other towns and stuff like that. And I think here we have an opportunity to, the GA's willing to spend the money on some good quality dirt or topsoil, and we have volunteers that are willing to go out there their time and spread it, and do their part, as well as Glenn. So why not figure a way for us to kind of get it from point A to point B? And then with that said, at least I feel more comfortable where the town employees, is going to do I don't want to say a better job, but we be more conscious of where they're going and where they're putting stuff, and got to know where and how to do it, drive on certain areas than versus someone that's coming in that's not really familiar with the area. And something goes wrong and then there's a complaint, well, geez, they tore up the whole area. Do they know that? I mean, it's in Ludlow. I mean, a trip back and forth to Ludlow is a couple hours. And I hope somehow, some way we can find 2 hours of time to accommodate this. That's just where I am with it.
If they were to bring it in and dump it, is there a recommended spot where they dump it? I know ideally it would be right at the sort of the ball field. Right?
yeah, Jen.
We're kind of like off to the side, and so just as long as we can not have to take the wheelbarrow all the way across Dufresne. That's just a long way for volunteers to move wheelbarrows. Obviously, if you get paid by the hour, it's one thing, but
Yeah.
we can only ask for volunteers for so much, only beat up so much. So,
Closer to the field better.
Yeah.
yes. So if we could have only one load, or either if we could split the two fields, that'd be wonderful. So
Yeah, do one at each field.
Well, I was trying to address the running problem. They're bringing a big truck like that. Where
it is soft over there. I'm not saying it's not. It absolutely is. So it's I don't know. Is there any perfect solution to it? I mean, I'm not sure if Jeremy has a tractor with a bucket on it or not. I'm not sure if he does or he doesn't. But, if we stick it over where the GA used to have an old storage shed over there, like that's out of the way. And then he can go over, grab a scoop, go put it wherever he wants to go put it. And that's fine with a tractor. But if you're doing it by hand, then it gets a little bit more.
Yeah.
Which you did say that he was willing to spread it, right?
During the conversations, he said he's certainly willing to help us as much as he can. Again, but I don't know if he has the equipment that he needs to do that job. I don't know if he has a tractor with a bucket on it. I know he's got the rototiller because he turned the fields up for us and they look really good. That's, it's a certainly made some progress there. So, but I don't know if he has the.
Well, we can ask Dave, does he have the equipment to spread it?
Okay.
Let's like a 1 yard, 2 yard bucket. It's not.
It's a small box.
It's a small bucket.
Yeah,
But
it's not as it was.
Well, we'll kind of take what we can get. That's kind of where we're at. We just want to make things right and make it good for the kids, and that's all we really care about, basically. When they're down to it, we just want to make it right for the kids, making it good for everybody.
The trainers bring it, but they bring it in one.
I think they'd probably bring it two. That's I wouldn't want to try Absolute. That's just too much.
So that'd be 160 delivery.
Right.
If you get two, but you said possibly three, right?
If they're bringing a big truck, I think two sufficient. In worst case scenario, if we have to run out for just 2 years, then we'll do this again. But this one, I'm something.
To drive the dump truck, Dave, do they have to have a special license, CDL or anything for the dump truck?
On 550,
Okay.
taking small.
thoughts?
I
Can I say one thing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not under our department any longer, but in fairness to Jeremy, everyone compared our town, surrounding towns that have parks departments that are bigger than our entire DPW. So Granby's never gonna have parks in this shape some of these other towns are. It's not gonna happen unless you spend an awful lot more money on DPW and staffing for parks. There's just not enough hours in the day to do all of this stuff. And I mean, we built that park with Brown Ellison in 2001. We built soccer fields, we graded it, we put running track in. I designed all the grading for that park. I mean, it isn't like we have not been working for the community. We do what we can with the hours we have, but we're pulled in many different directions. And I'm sure, again, with Jeremy, he's got a few guys working on that he can sell to take care of as well.
Very busy. Yeah, I agree completely, Dave. I don't see how you guys do what you do. Because I work for Belsham. We have 5 times we've got this in my department. I get it.
15 in Belchertown, right?
Just for highway, plus another 6 of 4 of us that do all the maintenance stuff. So I get it. And this is a little off topic, but I think maybe something that as a town we could look at is, I know the town has a very strict, like no volunteers doing any kind of work on town property type thing. But a lot of smaller towns like Hatfield, whatever, they're completely, their parks are completely volunteer handled. Didn't care about the volunteers, the weed whacking, the mowing and all that fun stuff. So if there was some way we could find some kind of way to, whether it's through the Parks Commission or not, the volunteer people that help the parks, is if we could find some kind of waiver system or something, have a few individuals that could just go weed whack for an afternoon. Like again, this is one of those things. How do we work around asking the same, 5 or 6 people to do everything in town? 'Cause it's so much. But if we've got a volunteer base, is there some way we can find a way to utilize that base and have them go? And it sounds silly, but have 4 or 3 people go weed whack for a couple hours on the weekend. But that makes a huge difference in the overall appearance of what we offer as a town for the parks. It's it's just a food for thought. And again, I know it's not going to be a 2 hour, 1 hour solution, but I think we have the people that are willing to volunteer to do the work. But we just don't have a way to utilize that labor pool per se. So, just my personal thoughts. So,
Okay.
So
Back to this.
I know, back to the matter at hand, sorry.
So the hangup would be getting, even if we exclude the highway department, and just your volunteers going. So the hangup, Chris, is the having them drive their trucks and dump it in the appropriate spot.
No, the hangup is,
Avoid the liability, but that's what I'm
I
asking.
don't think it's it'll just come in to dump. It's no different. The
Again,
vehicles are
but as
insured.
long as the fields are dry enough to withhold the weight.
You get that.
That's my biggest concern.
Right. So that would have to be where someone is telling them where it needs to go, or is it's okay to drive it out of the field.
Which
It's
would
not.
be Jeremy.
Yeah,
I mean, there's if someone has a dump truck and they're licensed and they're insured, it's no different than a trucking company bringing something in because they're licensed and insured in the vehicle. Yeah. I mean, we're worried about ruts and stuff like that. That's why I said I'd like to just have the town take care of it. I don't think it's too much to ask the town to do something like that. You know, again, I mean,
If this board wishes to order it, it will be done.
I'm talking to my other two. We're talking about 2 hours and we're talking about, we're talking about volunteers. We're talking about people that are going to go out there and spend probably more than 2 hours volunteering their own time to spread dirt. And if they have to, some people might, depending on what Jeremy can do, if people got to wheelbarrow that back and forth, probably a lot more time. I just think, we need to give something. And I think this is a time we have an opportunity to give back a little bit. So why don't we give?
I agree, Glenn.
Well, Dave, I understand you guys are busy and I don't fault that at all, but I would hope, in a 2-week process, you can find an hour, 2 hours to spare to go down there.
I don't know where Church is. Brown House, and do you know?
Half hour.
About 20 minutes, half hour.
20 minutes there, 20 minutes back. So it's an hour.
They got the voting, so it's,
They gotta load something like that.
so it's, call it an hour. That's a pretty fair estimate, there, back, whatever else, and yeah, so.
Last thing I want to do is have someone else come in and bring it in and they go on the field, whatever, something, put ruts, whatever. And now it becomes a totally different conversation. I feel that the town can do it and I feel confident where if it's the town bringing it in, they're going to look at what is the best solution, where to put the stuff. So it doesn't cause any additional issues to the fields.
And it's easier to coordinate with Jeremy too, when it's brought in and where to put it.
Well, it's not to Jerry, it's Dave too.
Well, yeah, but Jeremy's gonna decide where it goes.
Yeah. So a couple hours to get the 2 trucks there. Or 1 truck, two trips.
Yeah. I mean, you were thinking like 8 yards, really. I mean, it was,
Yeah, that's it. Excuse me. So if we got 1 truckload over it, 2 frames, 1 at Brown Allison, or if you want to just dump both of 2 frames and Brown Allison's fine for now, I'm good either way. Like as long as we get something down so we can level the fields out for the kids, that's a win as far as I'm concerned.
But you still need the Brown Ellison field done as well, so it'd obviously be better if you do 1 and 1.
It would be better.
well, there's some over at Brown Ellison now, is there?
There's more.
And they've spread it already.
Yeah.
That's specialized stuff.
I think if we have the volunteers that are willing to go out there and put the time and effort into do it, let's get the material there.
Agree.
Yep.
All right, well, there we go. So Chris, you'll work with David on that? We need some time. It's gonna have to work into his schedule where,
Understood. I got no problem with that. Right. Just, in the next, week, 2 weeks would be great. Just dump it in. Just when it's there, we'll hammer it out and we'll make it look right.
well, I appreciate you. I appreciate all the volunteers too. It takes a lot to do things like that.
It is.
That's all physical labor.
It is.
Nothing fun about it.
It's not, but when you see the kids out there and it's just, our first day of practice at Brown Hills the other day, the fields were all full. It's beautiful because there were kids everywhere.
I agree. I've been there and I do. I think it makes
It makes it worth it. It really does.
a difference.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Or anything else?
Yeah, we gotta do the lacrosse.
And Megan's here. For Dylan.
The what?
Megan is here. Instead of Dylan.
The 6:30 appointment.
Oh, okay, all right.
So I guess Dylan's not coming this evening. I was just texting with him. He said, they're basically removing the request. They moved all the games to the South Hadley turf field at the high school, and, I guess they're just going to stay with that, so they no longer need use of, so.
Not even for senior night? I know that was a big thing.
Yeah, it sounds like, he said, everyone is content with South Hadley at this point. I think that's where we're gonna stay, so.
Okay.
Sounds like it's not an issue anymore.
Man, I like the idea of moving to a turf field. I don't like the idea of moving to South Hadley.
Gotcha. Understood.
Thank you.
All right, well, that's it, correct? You miss anything?
Just a warning.
I'm trying to get by that. Can't get by that, huh? Oh, all right. All right, because Crystal says it can take a long time, so.
There's a lot.
All right.
All right, so Commonwealth of Massachusetts Town of Granby Annual Town Meeting, Hampshire SS, to one of the constables of the Town of Granby in the County of Hampshire, greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of said town qualified to vote in elections and town affairs to meet at the East Meadow Elementary School on East State Street in said town on Monday, the 13th day of May, next at 7 p.m., then and there to act on the following articles to it. Article 1, to see if the town will vote to conduct the business of the meeting as follows. On May 13th, 2024, consider Articles 2 through 23, and on June 10th, 2024, consider Articles 24 through 32, or take any other action in regard thereto. So am I reading each article and then if there's any questions, stopping to see if there's any questions and then going back?
I would just, I'm sure if the board has a question, they go
As we
into.
go. Okay. Article 2, to see if the town will vote to approve the consent agenda as follows. Article 2A, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to conduct the following activities for fiscal year 2025. A, to sell after first giving notice of time and place of sale by posting such notices of sale in some convenient and public place in the town 14 days at least before the sale, property taken by the town under tax title land of low value procedure, provided the select board or whomever they authorize to hold such public auction may reject any bid they deem inadequate. So I did have a question about this, Chris, because is that the Title V that Steve Nally said was not done by the town, the collector? Is that the Title V properties of people who don't pay taxes?
Not Title V property, but tax title takings, yes, and
Okay.
foreclosure,
Okay, so that's what that article is referring to?
yes.
Okay. All right, B, to apply for and accept federal and state grants or monies as may be made available and to allow the select board to expend any funds received as set forth in the appropriate application. C, to enter into a contract with the Massachusetts Highway Department for the construction and maintenance of public highways for the ensuing year, or take any other action in regard thereto. Article 2B, to see if the town will authorize the various departments to receive compensation for services rendered for fiscal year 2025 as follows. A, the cemetery commissioners to be compensated per the bylaws of the town of Granby, Volume 2, Chapter 19 Personnel Bylaw, Appendix D Compensation Plan Pay Schedules to dig graves at a pay rate of Grade 3, Step 1, and maintain the equipment and grounds at a pay rate of Grade 1, Step 1 in the cemeteries. B, the members of the Board of Assessors are to be compensated $15 per parcel for necessary field work and data collection for services rendered in connection with the reevaluation and recertification process involving 1/6 of the improved parcels in town. C, the members of the Board of Health and their consultants are to receive compensation at a wage rate of $35 per inspection or specific required activity. D, the members of the Planning Board or their appointees are to receive compensation at a wage rate of $65 per inspection or take any other action in regard thereto. So Chris, did the pay, when they say the grade 1, step 1 in cemeteries, what was the rate that changed from the previous year? Was it just a 3% increase?
Yeah,
Okay. And then the Board of Assessors, $15 per parcel?
that's.
Same.
That's constant.
Okay,
35 is
Same thing.
constant and 65 is constant.
okay. And then Article 2C, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Conservation Commission to charge a fee of $75 for each site inspection deemed necessary by a quorum of the commission. Fee shall be payable to the Town of Granby Conservation Commission and deposited in the Conservation Hatch Fund or take any other action in regard thereto. Article 2D, to see if the town will vote to accept the following gifts in calendar year 2023 for perpetual care of cemetery lots. Natalie Buys, $775. Linda M. Robar, $775. Carl Elstrom, $1,565. Betty Fredette, $1,575. John and Susan Gahan, $1,575. Russell F. and Deborah A. Gay, $1,575. Brian F. and Barbara A. Hochschild, $6,355. And I just realized, I apologize, I skipped over a name. Sharon Delaney, $775. Get small, done. Richard R. and Wanda J. Fields, $1,565. Francis Donovan, $775. John Sullivan, $1,565. Francis Pike, $3,155. Helen Brooks, $775. Kevin Allen Deborah A.
Kadu.
Kedu, $1,575. Barbara White, $775. John McGrath, $775. And Stephen and Beverly Saborin, $775. Or take any other action in regard thereto. Article 2E, to see if the town will vote to authorize expenditures from these revolving funds for fiscal year 2025 without further appropriation. A Parks Oversight Revolving Fund from which the Parks Oversight Ad Hoc Committee may spend $40,000 in revolving fund monies in fiscal year 2025. B, a Charter Day Revolving Fund from which the Charter Day Ad Hoc Committee may spend $30,000 in revolving fund monies in fiscal year 2025. C, a Planning Board Fees Revolving Fund from which the Planning Board may spend $25,000 in revolving fund monies in fiscal year 2025. D, an After-School Committees Program Revolving Fund from which the Superintendent of Schools may spend $20,000 in revolving fund monies in fiscal year 2025. E, a Dog Revolving Fund from which the Police Chief may spend $14,599 in revolving fund monies in fiscal year 2025. F, a Library Revolving Fund from which the Library Commissioners may spend $2,000 in revolving fund monies in fiscal year 2025. Or take any other action in regard thereto. So Chris, with the clear cutting of the not clear cutting, but with the conservation going in there and doing the logging of the park, that $76,000 was going back into the ad hoc park committee, correct? Is that where those funds go?
No, I just put them in a special revenue fund pending appropriation for a project.
Okay. So what does that mean exactly? Just, so it's not in free cash, it's not in any kind of, so it's a separate account?
It's sitting there, and in essence, I think the Board of Selectmen should determine or approve any project that money is being spent on, to be honest with you.
Okay. And then the Charter Day revolving, was that always at 50,000?
Yeah, but you don't have 50,000 in there right now. So I just dropped it to 30. But if you bring in enough receipts to cover, you can spend.
Okay. I was just worried about the Charter Day Committee for the following year because I'm pretty sure, last year we spent over 30 and we did dip into the savings. We brought in 30. So I don't know exactly how much it is. I don't have the paperwork in front of
I
me.
think there's around like 15 grand sitting in there, 15, 16.
Yeah. So each year it gets more and more expensive. So each year we go into that revolving fund and we hope that it will pay for itself, but it doesn't.
Mhm.
So. You
The only
think,
time it pays for itself if you have 3 days of good weather.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's with you.
And if you get the people.
Is there, or just better off leaving that a higher amount? Or
That's what the board wants. I'll change
I think what
it.
Chris was saying though, is if we don't have the funds, we don't want to take from the taxpayers. So if we keep it at 30, you can do the 30 plus dip into the 15, but you can't go over the 15. So you would have 45 is what he's saying, give or take, if you bring it down to 0. I think that's what he's trying to say.
but we're at less money this year than we were last.
Every year it goes down.
Because you've been expending more than you've been bringing in
Yeah.
for the last 2-3 years.
His all
So-
costs went up, but we didn't have the money in parking. We went up on Saturday, but we didn't go up on Friday or something.
So at some point, you may have to look at and maybe curtailing some of the activities that you do during charter days.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
leave it there though.
And then all the other ones were the set amount. 'Cause I just noticed those two. All right, Article 2F, to see if the town will vote to authorize town departments to enter into agreements in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 4A for the fiscal year 2025 or take any other action in regard thereto. Article 2G, to see if the town will vote to allow the select board to appoint a member of the select board to a position that is under the supervision of the select board as allowed under Mass General Law, Chapter 268A, Section 21A, or take any other action in regard thereto. So what is that Mass General Law?
That's the ethics law.
Okay. Article 2H, to see if the town will vote to amend the bylaws of the town of Granby, Volume 2, Chapter 19 Personnel Bylaw, Appendix D, Compensation Plan Pay Schedules, and substituting a new Appendix D showing the 9 pay grades and 10 steps to be effective July 1st, 2024, or take any other action in regard thereto. Copies of Chapter 19 Appendix D are available at the Select Board's office. Will that be available during the town meeting to the people too?
It's usually one of the handouts we have out in the front.
And then Article 2I, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $303,052 or a greater or lesser amount as its apportioned share of the fiscal year 2025 budget for the Pathfinder Regional Vocational Technical High School District, or take any other action in regard thereto. Article 2J, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $272,708.43 or a greater or lesser amount authorized under Chapter 291 of the Acts of 2004 for highway construction and improvements defined in Chapter 90 of the general laws, or take any other action in regard thereto. Article 2K, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond $175,000 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the town's other post-employment benefits, OPEB liability, or take any other action in regard thereto. Article 3, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $86,072 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the purchase of a pickup truck with a plow for the Public Buildings Department, or take any other action in regard thereto. So Chris, that was the conversation that we had with Jeremy, right? And he went to the capital improvements. So this isn't going through capital improvements then? Or it is still? We just have to get because doesn't capital improvements have their own funding source?
But
Yeah,
we
we
still
put
need
money
the
into-
appropriation at town meeting.
But it's
This is-
not coming from the capital funds.
No,
Okay.
if we have free cash available, I'd rather spend cash for the vehicle
Okay.
instead of going out and either borrowing or taking from a stabilization fund.
No, that makes
That
sense.
way it's, the capital, free cash is meant for basically one-time expenditures. And that's what I'm trying to do is spend mainly free cash on a lot of these one-time expenditures.
I guess my understanding was that the capital improvements don't they have their own account?
They
Or not?
do, but what it
Okay.
is when we borrow the money for those items is when I take it out of stabilization to pay the debt service for anything that is borrowed for, that is approved by capital improvement.
Okay. How much is it our free cash, Chris?
2,071,000. And change.
Okay. All right, Article 4 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $8,750 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the purchase of a landscape trailer for the Public Buildings Department or take any other action in regard thereto. Article 5 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $17,856 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the installation of insulation and space heater in the Carnegie Pavilion for the Public Buildings Department or take any other action in regard thereto. Where's the Carnegie Building? I know I asked you guys.
That's the old library.
Library.
The old library, so the pavilion right
It's the
behind it.
little white building
Yeah.
on the side of it, towards the rear.
And the old library is where the early voting was, right?
Yes.
Is that the one?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes. If you look on the front of the building, it says it's Carnegie Library,
Okay.
but it's no longer,
Buy it all the time.
it's not a library anymore, so now we just call it the Carnegie Building.
And what's the building in front of the Veterans Memorial? Because that's the one I was
That one's
picturing the
gone.
whole time.
That one's gone. That was the garage to the old Aldrich Hall.
Which was taken down.
Yep.
The building in front of it is,
Is the garage that is coming down also,
okay,
because that's where the gazebo is going to end up going eventually.
okay. All right, Article 6, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $11,933 or a greater or less amount for the purpose of funding the installation of fencing at the COA building or take any other action in regard thereto. So that's this building?
That's this building.
Why do we want to?
Fencing along this backside, because we've seen some elderly almost go over the edge and into the pond.
Okay,
What we're doing, it's a safety item as far as we're concerned, because sometimes when we're older and even our age, sometimes we think you put it in reverse, but it's in forward.
Will we be better off putting up like a guardrail type?
I was thinking that.
Well, that's what it is. It is. It's still fencing, but it's a guardrail type
Yeah.
fencing.
Is it metal or what?
Is it fencing or is it a guardrail?
It's considered fencing. Soon
Is it a guardrail?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Because most people think of guardrail as the galvanized steel.
Okay, I'll give that to you. But I've seen a lot of guardrails just like the woodwork. Those are like the bigger 8x8.
Yeah,
Beams.
I think they have it at the safety center, right? They have it wood.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's gonna be something like that that will stop them from.
On that idea, just to stop them from going down the hill and into the tree.
Oh, right. I get it. Yeah.
No, we're not putting in a 6-foot fence or an 8-foot fence.
But I say that to clarify that because people will think of a fence.
I
Think
actually
of a-
thought you were putting in a fence.
They'll think of a stockade fence going down
Yeah,
the thing.
No, it's a guardrail.
I know what you were doing. We've had this conversation before.
Thanks.
All right, Article 7, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $12,251 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the installation of fencing at the Brown Ellison Field or take any other action in regard thereto.
And that is the actual fencing. There's portions that are basically terrible, and we're replacing the bad sections of the fence out at Brown Ellison.
So the black fence that's in the front, that there.
And along some of the back sides and so
Okay.
on and so forth. I don't know if you noticed though, but I believe the backstops at the playgrounds or at the ball fields were replaced by us. We repaired those this year. They were actually just done probably. I don't know if Jeremy reported in his,
I didn't see
weekly
that in the
report,
report. No, you-
but we had a fencing company come in and repair them. So they are looking good again, so.
That's good. All right, Article 8, to see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond $70,000 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the paving of the public library parking lot or take any other action in regard thereto.
That is at the new library. Basically, if you look at the parking lot, it's all fractured and stuff due to water damage, water lifting and settling underneath it. So what we're trying to do is to repair it, basically mill it and then put a overlay over it to get it back to a better condition than what it is.
Is that gonna
No.
fix the problem? That's
It will not fix the problem. The problem is, when I spoke with David, is they never brought the ledge down low enough to compensate for the amount of water that drains along the ledge.
The water's just not draining properly, it's sitting still up there.
Frost.
It's pushing up the asphalt.
Yep. So the only way you're going to do that is if you tear everything up, lower the ledge, and bring in probably gravel and other materials to allow it to drain away from the property.
More expensive than $70,000.
I'm sure it is.
Yes.
And how old is the parking lot now? Like how many years have we been able to
Back
just
in
repair it?
13, 15,
Maybe 20 years. I mean, that's
Yeah.
2013, 2015, so 10 years.
12 years, yeah. And the newer asphalt's aren't as good as they were years ago. You're not gonna get 12 years. Okay.
So
Article 9, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $92,174 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the replacement of the battery backup unit at the police department or take any other action in regard thereto.
yes, that is a battery backup unit located in the dispatch room for the E911 equipment that is supposed to keep the equipment operating between the time you lose power and the generator outside kicks in to supply power.
And it's not doing it now.
Well,
Something.
it's that was installed in 2010. And we're told that these systems at the most last 5 years. So what we're doing is I've been actually talking with Chief O'Grady. We're looking at alternatives of, instead of investing this type of money every 5 years, to get individual little UPS devices on each of the computers, get it onto his radio system and so on and so forth. And we believe we can get this probably done for probably 1/2 to 2/3 the cost of what we're putting here.
So the 92,000 would be the individual UPS or it's still the battery?
It's to remove the existing one, which is basically almost the size of a room, to purchase a new unit and have it installed. And then have a service plan for 5 years.
And then
In
Well-
5 years, you'll have to replace it again because the batteries are no good. You just can't go in and replace the batteries. You have to replace the whole unit.
And even with doing the individual, did you say UPS on each
We're
computer?
talking, instead of having to spend this type of money all the time,
Yeah,
go out
You're
and
gonna
buy a
take
$900 UPS device. You plug it onto the computers like a lot of people do at home.
yeah.
You know, you pay 900.
Portable.
Yeah, it's a little battery that sits off to the side.
Yeah.
And when the battery dies, a lot of those, you can just pull the battery out and put a new one in.
Okay.
Okay, and we're just thinking, instead of spending this type of money every 5 years, to turn around and find an alternative way to do it, to maybe get it where we can maintain it at a reasonable cost, instead of having to do this.
Because there's plenty of other departments that have the same service that we have, so
Mhm.
this must be another way, other options besides that one, so it'd be great. I'm sure the chief will reach out to various departments to see what they're using.
So
So he's looking into that, doing it that way, but for now, we still need something working.
we have to replace this unit no matter what.
Okay,
Okay, and this was the price that we had gotten that gives us a ballpark of what it's going to take to remove, install, and purchase an actual unit. So
okay. Article 10, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $69,794 or a greater or less amount for the purpose of funding the purchase of a marked cruiser for the police department or take any other action in regard thereto. And I think we talked about this before, Chris, that every year they do it, right? Just to keep the fleet going and
Yes.
operational.
yes,
So what's the oldest one that they're going to be getting rid of?
they asked me that one. I don't
I'm
remember.
sure
I
the
don't
chief will
remember.
Tell us at the meeting.
I don't
too.
remember it off the top of my head. If you want, I can look it up and send it
Tell
to
us
you.
at the meeting, because he'll explain it to everyone.
Right, but if you want, I can send you an email which one he's planning on replacing.
And then that's the same thing for Article 11, right? The unmarked. So to see if
The other one, yeah, is we only have 2 unmarked cruisers, so those should last a little bit longer because they're not really used in regular rotation, 24/7.
Yeah.
So those should last a little bit longer than every 3 years or what.
so we have 2, but he wants another one.
No, this is replacing the second one.
Okay.
Because he did one last year too.
Right. They got 2 last year.
He got 2 last year, he's getting 2 this year, and then he'll go back to the 1 again.
All right, so Article 11 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $67,526 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the purchase of an unmarked vehicle for the police department or take any other action in regard thereto. Article 12, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow a bond, $70,340 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the replacement of security cameras and servers at the police department or take any other action in regard thereto. So that's the 2010 that they put it in.
Yes.
So
Those are the-
another outdated system.
Yep.
All right, Article 13, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $38,384 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the replacement of security fobs and controllers at the police department or take any other action in regard thereto.
And on these 2 articles, while it says police department, it really is for the whole public safety complex.
And again, it's the old system that was
Yes.
put in originally.
Yes. And they're starting to have issues with the pads and so on and so forth, so.
All right, Article 14, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $1,300,000 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the purchase of a fire engine for the fire department or take any other action in regard thereto.
Yep. That is to replace engine number 2. Then the problem is this has a 5-year wait to be delivered. And according to national NFPA standards, a second response vehicle needs to be replaced every 20 years. And they're replacing a 2007. So by the time they get it, it will be 20 years old.
All right, that's a big hit. Next one,
Yep.
Article 15, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $89,000 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the purchase of a pickup truck for the highway department, or take any other action in regard thereto. Pickup trucks,
Your
what
pickup-
would
your
it be
pickup truck,
replacing?
Mine, starting to rot out pretty bad.
Okay.
Go look at the patches on the sides, floorboards.
All right. Article 16, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $275,000 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the purchase of a dump truck for the highway department, or take any other action in regard thereto. Same thing.
And that one, this has a 3-year wait now for delivery of dump trucks.
Wow.
And the one he's replacing, basically the body has rusted out.
It's been patched numerous times. It's a steel body. All the newer trucks we've been purchasing are stainless bodies. And then we're not going back to steel. It's just,
They cost more, but they last longer.
yes, they're maintenance free. I've got body slip and sanders that are from 2001 are still in service with very little.
The steel ones
Well, the same-
or the stainless steel? Okay.
Stainless steels and rust.
What year was your truck?
We was in 2009.
Okay. And then what year is the dump truck?
15.
Okay.
The 2009 is the big truck.
Okay. All right. Article 17 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $162,750 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding paving at the West Street Cemetery, or take any other action in regard thereto.
In essence, I was approached by a few residents that are saying that it is terrible driving into the West Street Cemetery. There are some parts where to get out to the graves, it's not even paved. You drive over dirt driveways. So I asked David to go out and look at it and come up with a price estimate to pave the entryway again. That would be to mill in place and replace, right?
Reclaim.
Reclaim and place. And then to actually start putting down some stone and then a pavement out to the areas that are unpaved, so people can get out to the grave sites without having to deal with going through dirt and sand, and when it gets wet, essentially getting stuck and things of that nature.
Is that from the West Street side or from the?
That's from the West Street side, West Street entrance, yeah.
So it'd be the entrance, and then you said stone, and what else to get to the other areas?
Well, there's unpaved areas to get out to the actual grave sites. I want to just pave those.
Okay.
They were originally all paved and the pavements broken up pretty bad. It was oil and stone for a section there, and sports really reflect that. But the price we put together was to do the entire area that was originally either surface with stone seal or paved.
Those costs and all that.
1,060. $62,750.
Now, that is to bid it out and have someone come in and do it. David can do it, but the concern I have is the availability of manpower to do it while he's trying to get his Chapter 90 roads done, dealing with the culverts that he has to either maintain or replace, the catch basins, things of that nature. He has all that other work that still has to be done.
Yeah.
And as he alluded to, there is a retirement coming in his department. And we've had this discussion before, is the availability of replacement manpower. Because right now, we can't find people to come in who have a Class B license. Everybody's having issues getting drivers with a Class B.
They reach our two or one. Or you gotta be down with two.
Gonna be down with one very shortly. He's planning on going July 1 or 2, whatever birthday is.
Yeah.
And he's got vacation time.
Yeah, makes sense.
He's only got a few more weeks.
How many people do we have at the highway department, Dave?
There are 6 full-time right now. I have 2 Smith Voc interns helping us out on a full-time basis.
How's that working out?
Yeah, I'm very pleased with the interns.
Any way we can break it off into different years? The cemetery?
Like do the entranceway and then do the side trails later? Is that weird?
I got a feeling when it was all said and done, they're gonna tell me like $5 left in the bank account.
What bank account?
Everything. I know. Everything is expensive.
To be honest with you, most of this or actually all of the capital is coming through free cash. And the only thing I'm borrowing is the 1.3 million for the fire engine and the 275,000 for the dump truck.
Which leaves us with what?
Our free cash will be spent.
So if something
And
happens,
there is some money going into stabilization funds. Well, free cash is only good till June 30th. Then after, once July 1 hits, you have to get it recertified based upon the June 30th, 2024
Right.
balance sheet.
some's going into municipal build, we're gonna get there in a minute, but some's going into capital
Yes,
stabilization, some's going into municipal. So if there was an emergency, we do have a little bit of
we
a,
do have funds available.
okay.
We got a little over $1 million I think it's around $1.1 million in capital. I think we got about $1.2 million in buildings. And I believe the general is at about 200,000. And the problem we run into there is a lot of times when the school is seeking additional funds, they usually try and tap into the
General.
general fund, general stabilization fund.
Do you still wanna see if we can separate that?
I mean, find out when we get the bids and see what it costs. I mean, this is just speculation at this point. It could be more, could be less. But
Well, with the price of oil's been going up, the price of gas and stuff, I think this may be a short figure, to be honest with you.
All right, Article 18, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond $15,000 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the purchase of a mower for the cemetery department or take any other action in regard thereto. Do they have a mower now or no?
Yes, they have a mower. They thought they could just go out and buy a new mower for 15,000 and the town would just have to come up with the money. And I
Did they
told them,
already buy it?
no, they haven't bought it. They haven't bought it. But that was the attitude, and my answer is no, we have to get appropriation for them to purchase it, so that's why this is on.
the more they buy,
It's a zero turn mower. Commercial grade,
And theirs is old, obviously, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right, Article 19, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond $83,388 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the tuition for Smith Vocational and Agricultural High School students or take any other action in regard thereto.
We are planning on sending 4 students to Smith Folk for fiscal year 2025.
And they have to commit my ninth grade, right? And that's only if it's not available at Pathfinder.
Correct.
Article 20, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $41,560.43 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the opioid settlement special revenue fund or take any other action in regard thereto. So that was what we got from the settlement, right?
This was back in 2023.
Yeah.
We had received money after we had gone to town meeting.
Mhm.
And we didn't hold another one beforehand, so this is appropriating that money out of free cash into the opioid fund as required by the settlement.
And I was going to say, and we have specific requirements that we have to spend that money on, which is why it's going into that account.
Correct.
And I think we had talked about possibly working with another community to try and figure out how to do not a seminar, but some kind of community engagement, right?
We also asked, I think in one of the projects, we asked PVPC under DLTA funds to see if we could merge with one or two or multiple agencies to be able to try and pull the money to get the bigger bang for the buck for it.
And we didn't hear back from them.
No,
right?
I don't think that got funded.
Okay. All right, to see if Article 21, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $59,051 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the general purpose stabilization fund or take any other action in regard thereto. So Chris, when you gave us the estimate of 200,000, is that including the 59,000 that's going in? So that's just adding to it. Article 22, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $59,051 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the capital needs stabilization fund or take any other action in regard thereto. Article 23, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $59,051 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the municipal building stabilization fund or take any other action in regard thereto. Article 24, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds $550,652 or a greater or lesser amount to operate the municipal solid waste department or take any other action in regard thereto.
On that article, just so you know, our current contract expires June 30th of 2025. So we need to start looking at a new RFP, probably starting in July. And I am seeing if I can get someone from Republic Services to come in and talk about the current market. Because what they're saying is the industry is getting away from the drivers climbing out of the truck or having a helper climb out of the truck and load bags and containers into the hopper. They're going to want it to be all automated. So we're going to have an issue with pay-as-you-throw bags because
Can't pick that.
they're not going to be able to just stack 4, 5, 6 extras on the side and have them picked up. So either we're going to have to get extra carts for these people, and that's going to cost us an arm and a leg. to be
So-
honest with you.
Would that be something where the town's required to supply one, and if they want any extra, they would have to get their own?
But it would have to be able to be picked up by that
Right,
size.
like the green waste management ones?
Yes,
So what the size? That they.
it's not the size, it's the weight. I believe it's
Yeah.
not more than 50 pounds.
Well, those barrels aren't cheap either.
No,
Farm package, it's in a 32 gallon one, like we're.
we can get up to a 96 gallon container if you want, but you do a 96 gallon container and that's going to be heavy,
Yeah, it's good.
especially when people start throwing diapers and things like that and food waste into it.
So Chris, what was the, not the association, but what was the company that you were talking
I'm
about?
looking at Republic Services.
Republic Services.
I had a half-hour presentation by him, and I asked if he'd be willing to come into the board and make the presentation to the board live, so that you would know what you're dealing with for the next contract season.
Some citizens right now have those. I saw some of the Republic trucks driving around town.
They may be private.
Yeah.
Okay, just like you'll see, I think, what is it, Comp USA or something like that, or USA
Yeah.
And dumpsters 413,
413, then there used to be a triple T that
Barnett.
used to come through, and, there's all different types. These are people who have dumpsters in their yard,
Yeah.
and they're coming in and emptying those dumpsters, or they contract privately with these companies. And that way they don't have to follow our rules and regs. They just follow whatever the company
Oh,
does.
so you said it becomes we're not gonna be more extra bags when we.
That's the
The
problem.
bag there.
That's the concern I have, is this program going to be able to be affordable for curbside collection through the town?
Mhm.
It's going to be a heavy duty decision on part of this board.
Well, it just gets more and more expensive to get rid of trash.
The only other way around is stop the services and everybody have to hire private.
And that's going to be not going to go over very well, because now you're going to find more illegal dumping.
Yeah.
And David is going to be out there picking up trash, and Jeremy's going to be picking up trash out of our parks and whatnot. And then it's going to be the town disposing of all this illegal trash instead.
That was the fear before.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a fear. That was a concern before.
It's a fear, because we know that's what's going to end up happening. We're seeing illegal dumping at Two Frame Park as it is now, even with curbside collection. Because people don't want to pay the
$4 or whatever.
the $2 for a bag, or
Yeah.
they can't be bothered, Then I'm sorry, but I just have problems with that. We're gonna have to lock each one of our dumpsters at all our sites.
Yeah.
Has to come to that, it has to come to that.
Yeah. But it's not gonna go over easy.
No.
People are not gonna like that. That's why we're starting to install cameras. I think we would need to have cameras installed at every site we have a dumpster, so we can catch people doing the illegal dumping.
And all the side streets, they drive down and throw them into the woods.
Yeah, and what'll happen is he'll get a call, go pick it up.
But
Yeah,
trying to
it becomes
take care
dark.
of my section.
But you call the police because it's illegal dumping. You go through and you have to go through the whole bag of garbage to find out if they happen to throw something in there that you can track
With
back.
their name on it, yeah,
And people are getting smarter and they're not doing that.
which takes time.
Yep.
All right. Do you want me to go to the next article?
Please.
Okay. Article 25, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds $278,332 or a greater or lesser amount to operate the sewer department or take any other action in regard thereto. So that is just for maintenance, right?
And the
Up and
fee we have to pay to South Hadley for the
Okay.
user fee.
All right, Article 26, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $75,000 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the purchase and installation of a generator at the Pleasant Street Pump Station or take any other action in regard thereto.
Currently, if the power goes out, Pleasant Street Pump Station is without power unless David brings in a portable generator to run it. This way we'll have power to it all the time and not run the risk of the pump station overflowing and contaminating the streams.
So now what happens when the power goes out and the people hooked to that station, right? Will it ever backflow or no because of the valves?
I don't think there'll be enough pressure.
It will overflow in
I don't
that
think there'll be
area?
enough pressure to go backwards.
It'll,
Okay, in that area, but okay.
just a section from Coal Hill, Pleasant Street, basically. It isn't the entire system. But Pleasant Street pump station will overflow.
And so now it will be on site there and fenced in so that nobody can take the generator or anything like that.
I hope so, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be cemented to the ground, both of them to the ground.
Bolted.
It's a stationary.
Generator. The cemetery is not fenced, it's just in its own enclosure.
Okay. All right, Article 27, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds $568,919 or greater or lesser amount to operate the ambulance department or take any other action in regard thereto.
On this one, I was speaking with the chair of the finance committee. They have a concern with us continuing to add personnel to the fire department, ambulance department. As we go along, they've been, ever since I think Chief O'Neill has been here, we've added one person, at least one person on every year. And the question is becoming is, at what point does it not become affordable for the town to keep adding personnel? I know he says his run data shows that we need all these people on site, but at some point it's gonna break the budget. We're not gonna be able to match revenues with the expenditures going on. And we have to really decide, should we try and look at regionalizing with another town, or trying to figure out, can we go back to part-time call force? Or are we gonna have all full-time staff 24/7? And again, I understand we're talking about people's lives, we're talking about people's health, the ability to take care of them. But again, I agree with that, but we also look at the affordability. Can the town actually afford to offer that type of service?
And when we had it before, didn't it pay for itself?
When it first started,
Yeah.
it was paid for itself. Okay, now it's
We're talking about the ambulance, not
the ambulance.
Yeah.
But the ambulance, before, when they first started it, the salary of all the employees was charged directly to the ambulance department. None went to the fire department. Now we are funding 72% of their salaries out of fire and only 28% out of ambulance, because the revenue streams aren't there to cover the full salaries anymore. So the taxpayers are picking up a larger burden to cover the staffing of the fire/EMS department.
We'll go back to discussions that we've had in the past, whether or not they just hire contracted ambulance services for the town.
You're right.
Yeah, I remember having that conversation when I first started, because AMR took over for Greenfield, right? And we had that conversation then. Because they couldn't afford it.
Yes.
That could backfire down the road.
I think they use a combination now of AMR and in department.
We lost a bunch of paramedics when they went to go over to Springfield. They all went down there and they're operating out of base.
Yeah.
Not just cost. I mean, yeah, lost the 3 or 4 that I'm aware of.
So,
I think we lost a couple here, because they're paying huge money.
well, that's the problem, but that's the problem you're gonna run into no matter what. We can't afford to keep up with what other people are paying out now. And that's the same discussion we talked about with David. And when all us department heads start retiring, you're gonna find, it's gonna be sticker shock
I know.
for this town.
I know.
Yeah, I don't think that the people understand that at this point, is that at some point it's gotta break.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna be honest, my position, it starts at 150,000 now for most places. You look across the state, that's the lowest you see is 150,000. And I'm sorry,
Same thing with his position. Also
same way, well, with his credentials,
with his credentials.
yes. he'd be 150, almost probably 175,000, to be honest with you. They just have engineers in those departments that do what he does. It's not even the department head. It's just an employee, a civil engineer who does all that work. So,
We've been talking about this for several years now.
but it's coming to a head. You have an aging force. He has a gentleman who's going to be retiring with, he has basically a Class A license. We're not going to be able to hire a Class A licensed person because we can't afford to pay them $170,000 a year that they could get out on the road doing tractor trailer. I don't know what we're going to do to try and replace that individual when he retires. Years ago, municipalities gave better benefits. Now private industry has caught up with the benefit portion.
Mhm.
That and the fact that they can pay the higher wage because they just pass it off onto the consumer. We can't do that.
Yes.
We're limited,
Well, here you preach to the choir. I understand that.
but I'm just saying is, we talk and we talk and we talk about it, but now it's coming to realization for him. What's he going to do if he can't replace that person? Now he's down one full-time person. You're going to become a training ground?
But
We'll invest in them to get their licenses, and then once they get their license, a private industry will snap them up, and they're gone.
same way with the PD. Came in, everybody got the academy, stayed for a while, but
Continue.
All right.
I can't take any more. This is bad news. Continue.
Article 28. See if
Well, I know I'm being the realist, but,
It is real. We've been talking about it for several years.
but, I hate to be the doom and gloom person, but I think that's part of my job, is be doom and gloom for you guys.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Get it out on the table.
It's reality. We've been, I've been on the board now for 7+ years or so. We've been talking about it. We know this isn't nothing new. For the past several years, ever since COVID, we've been fighting with keeping staff.
Yeah.
And we've seen it recently just with our building committee.
Yep.
Just trying to, how many times, just not there. And that's one position, and the other ones hold true because these are positions that are in demand.
Yep.
And it's real.
Article 28, to see if the town will vote to raise, appropriate, or transfer from available funds such sums of money as may be necessary to defray the expense of the town, including debt and interest for the ensuing year, and to carry out any vote passed under this article.
And one gloom and doom on that one is the select board set line item salary. Finance committee will only agree to a 3% increase from current year to next year. If you want to argue that with them, they have a meeting on Thursday night, and you're more than welcome to log in and argue your case to them at that point. Because I put in what you wanted, the 15,000 for the 3 board members, 5,000 apiece.
Which is basically $1,000 to raise just for really, it's just.
You can argue with the finance committee. I talked with them, and they're not going to honor your request, just so you know.
What was the time on Thursday night? Just curious for their meeting.
6:30, I think they meet 6:30.
All right, for Article 28, it says to defray the expense of the town, including.
That's all the departmental budgets.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like that school.
So anyone that went over budget for
No,
his.
No, these are the budgets for FY25.
Okay.
School, moderator, town clerk, selectman, highway, all the municipal departments.
Okay. So that all falls under 28?
Yes.
Okay. And then we'll have it itemized once we get to town meeting. for
Yes,
what
and
each
you'll have
department-
moderator wages or personnel.
Yeah.
Expense, capital, so
Okay.
much.
And that's all the ones that were already presented in front of us anyways.
All the ones that fell underneath your purview,
Okay.
okay? You don't see the elected ones for like the Board of Health, the assessors, town clerk, collector.
Okay.
You don't see those because they don't report directly to you.
Right, they report to you, right? And
They report to the townsfolk, to the voters.
Just like us.
Yes,
yeah, but they give you the budget and you have to put that budget in.
I put it in. I talk to them about what they're
What they're-
looking for.
Okay.
And then I forward that to the finance committee for their review and subsequent questions.
Do the elected officials see what's going in front of the town before they get to the meeting, or do they find out at the meeting what goes in front? So if like their request isn't granted by the finance committee, will they?
I
see that
would
ahead of time?
notify them
Okay,
that the finance committee isn't agreeing with your request to increase the hours from 30 hours a week to 35 hours. a week.
which is what you did tonight, letting us know that the finance committee doesn't agree with.
But isn't that supposed to go to town floor for vote?
What?
What's being, if,
The elected official can stand up and argue at town meeting, yes.
But
well, the thing is, so if the town puts in a budget,
And that's-
$100,000.
in most communities, you are correct. However, in our bylaws, it says a balanced budget is turned over to the finance committee and it is their budget to do with as they desire. So our bylaws overrule what you're saying.
which is why I remember the town clerk had to, stand up and.
think, right, if they knock it down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was why the original bylaw review committee changed that wording a little bit. So they didn't have total control of the budget once it's turned over to them.
Which we didn't get to approve that at that meeting, right? Because it got tabled.
Because the finance committee was arguing grammatic
Okay.
stuff on it. And they were going to make that meeting drag out for 4, 5, 6 hours.
Yeah, because we never returned to that meeting.
Nope.
All right. Article 29, to see if the town will vote to transfer from the capital equipment needs stabilization fund $220,400 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of reducing the funding from tax levy for the fiscal year 2025 appropriations or take any other action in regard thereto.
And as I mentioned earlier, that is the amount of debt service being paid in fiscal year 2025 for any article or any equipment purchase authorized by the capital improvement committee that was borrowed.
All right, Article 30, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash $892,394.70 for the purpose of reducing the funding from tax levy for the fiscal year 2025 appropriations or take any other action in regard thereto.
And basically that is using free cash to make up the deficit that we would have if everything was funded by tax levy, which includes an additional 600,000 above minimum for the school department. Over minimum.
All right, and then Article 31 is to see if the town will vote to transfer from account number 30-122-5801-000 bond premiums to be applied $11,470.32 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of reducing the funding from tax levy for the fiscal year 2025 appropriations or take any other action in regard thereto.
That item there is when we borrowed for the East Meadow addition renovation project. We received more money than what we bonded for, paid bond premium. Accordingly, what we have to do per Department of Revenue regulations is to amortize that amount over the life of the loan. It was a 25-year loan. We had, I think originally had gotten, I think it was 155,000 premium. And that is being reduced every year according to a formula by the Department of Revenue.
That's this amount.
Yes. For fiscal year 25.
So we're transferring it to what though?
General fund, which will then reduce the amount that we need to raise from taxation
Okay.
to cover the debt exclusion vote.
All right, in Article 32, to see if the town will vote to assess the amounts raised and appropriated under these articles and warrants on the estates and personal property of the town of Granby.
That allows us to issue tax bills.
Should probably start off with that.
I was like, it's-
All right, and you are hereby directed to serve this warrant by posting attested copies thereof at 5 or more public places as of the bylaws before the time of said meeting. Hereof fail not and make due return of this warrant with your doings thereon to the town clerk at the time and place of meeting aforesaid. Given under our hands this 22nd day of April in the year of our Lord 2024.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Yes, that's my motion.
Any further discussions?
No.
No.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, there's nothing else on our,
No, you got one more. You got the election warrant to do.
This one first.
Scroll down. No.
Yeah, I'll do that one. Actually, well, let's sign this, I guess, and then pass it back to me. The election warrants underneath it. Yeah.
That way we only have to do one posting.
Yep.
We only have to do one registration for voting voters, things of that nature. And the polling hours are 12 to 7.
Thank you. All right.
Been missing off.
At 385 East State Street in said town on Monday, the 12th day of May 2024, from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m., then and there to cast their votes for the following offices. For 3 years, a select board member, an assessor, a board of health member, a moderator, a town collector, a treasurer, 2 school committee members, a commissioner of burial grounds, and 3 public library trustees. For 4 years, unexpired housing authority. For 5 years, a housing authority member and a planning board member. And you are hereby directed to serve this warrant by posting attested copies thereof at 5 or more public places as of the bylaws before the time of said meeting. Hereof fail not and make due return of this warrant with doings thereon to the town clerk at the time and place of meeting as aforesaid, given under our hands this 22nd day of April in the year of our Lord 2024. So I make a motion to approve the annual town election warrant.
second.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you.
Good job, Dixon. I would have lost my voice.
What?
I would have lost my voice.
All right, well, that's it for that portion of the meeting. So, if somebody has anything else in regards to the time, say 8 o'clock, we do have an executive session on our agenda this evening. So, that said, we went to executive session under 38-21-2. This is to conduct strategy in preparation for negotiations with a non-union personnel. So out of a regular session, after our executive session, only to adjourn. This time we'll call for a roll call vote to enter into executive session. Sexton, aye. Folger, aye.
Dufresne, aye.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.